Or just no, just
It's
no.
interesting nonetheless.
All right, and they're off. We got Ice Rod from Glen and Sanctuary, and Skullwood, small key, was that on Buane?
Yep. That's technically useless, but I mean, in terms of the logic, you do technically need all of the small keys to fight Mothula.
Yeah, so you could use it as a breadcrumb hint, maybe. That might be its only use.
Mm-hmm.
Glan doing the Houlihan prep.
And this is getting to be popular again, kind of repopularized with Keysanity, since a lot of the dungeons are holding the rupees instead of the overworld. And previously, in other races such as the fall tournament, the rupees were just so common early game that it wasn't really worth doing Houlihan, but it is now, it seems.
Yeah, I think that in combination with, same thing, you're less likely to get weapons. So having 10 bombs at the end of this, an assurance of 10 bombs is quite nice. And also, in an open or standard modes, you're trying to avoid overworld to some extent. Whereas in Keysanity, you're almost certainly going to have to go check Zora eventually.
That's a good point. And we see Glenn just going through some bushes for some 50% chance of bomb drops in 2 of the bushes. It's, particular bushes in this game just have a chance at bomb drops. It's kind of interesting how it's like specified like that.
Buane getting the 1 bomb pickup from the bush crabs, which is really nice for him. It'll allow him to come from the north side without having to drop down to the bomb merchant. Save him about 40 seconds or so.
And it looked like blue rupees for the tier 1 tree pole as well.
Hey, you don't want to have to farm blue rupees from a tree pole, but it's a lot better than doing it from blindside if you do have to farm.
And what was that up there? Was that a medallion in the lumberjacks?
Ooh, I missed it. Hopefully chat will tell us.
I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. I'm not sure.
Compass, says our restreamer.
Oh, that's quite a bit different.
The big key in the mushroom spot. 2. Ice Palace. So logically, that is required to get to Cold Stare, but both of these runners know the Ice Palace bomb jump, so really that just allows them to not isolate that big chest, and in a small key to Ice Palace as well.
Mm-hmm. It's a little scary when you want to full clear a dungeon and you just cannot get a single chest, and you have to worry about that all game afterwards.
Yeah, it's in the back of your mind. And it's either that or you delay it. You do some overworld before going to the dungeon, which you know you're going to have to do anyway, which can also bite you. So they don't have to worry about that with Ice Palace this time. And if they get Canis and Maria, they might not even have to do the Ice Palace bomb jump.
Unfortunately, Bottle Vendor swindling them again with a 5-arrow upgrade.
But they got a refund in the well, luckily. And Bombos.
That's arguably the most useful one.
Yeah, I can get you through Ice Palace. Thieves Town small key, I believe we just saw a pickup of. Or was that a compass? I just saw Thieves Town.
I think it was a small key.
Oh, well, that was the compass he just picked up, so it must have been not a compass. It was the compass to Thieves Town right after I said that.
That's right, it was both.
Called it. So Glan's going to be a bit slower in finishing out the Kakariko just because they did the Chris Houlihan first. In the end, it takes about 50 seconds or so to have done the Chris Houlihan from the start. And Buane got lucky with those bush crabs. So he'll get a little bit of a lead to start. Also, Buane's routing allows him to pick up that bottle before heading south to the sick kid, whereas Glan now has to kind of do the circuitous route.
Yeah, farming for rupees for Zora is technically a low percentage play because I mean it's 1 in 200 basically chance of having well, I guess it's a 10% chance of having an important item there, but I don't know. It's anything can happen in Keysanity. I'm sure both players will check it eventually. It's just if it's something like the boots or a sword that could definitely give one of the runners an advantage early on.
Yep, and the sick kid carrying the flute, probably because he's too nasally to play it himself. But this is,
Would you want to play that after getting it from a sick kid?
yeah, it's a little disgusting. You can already see Buane on the right side looking a little dark.
I see what you did there.
I had to talk over the flute song in order to get that joke out, though, so I apologize to chat.
How dare you?
I hope they let me commentate again on a future race.
So with the duck let loose, that opens up 2 item locations on the mountain. Not quite, not very much.
Yeah, on its own, not particularly useful, but does save them that trip.
And Glenn turning up his nose at the blue rupees from the tree pole.
Yeah, he's got Chris Houlihan as his friend. What does he need that for?
And with that ice rod, we may just find out what the stun prize is fairly shortly.
Oh, I didn't realize that frozen enemies dropped stun prize items.
I think they do, don't they?
I don't know. I rarely ever freeze them, so I'm sure you would know. Ooh, power gloves from the dam.
Nice. There's a bit of a quirk with the ice rod. Apparently, if you freeze an enemy and smash it with a hammer, you get a separate stun prize, different from the normal stun prize. So that'll be interesting as well if they find hammer anytime soon.
Wow, I did not know that. Oh,
And normally in
silvers.
the vanilla game, it's a full magic refill. Some nice silvers in the flooded dam area. We seem to find that early pretty often, don't we?
Yeah, what's up with that?
I did once see silvers on the pedestal. That was pretty entertaining.
Did anybody go for it?
Absolutely nobody got it, of
Of
course.
course not.
I think they had butter sword anyway.
Interesting play from Buane here, going to Agnes Cave. When you have the flute, normally it's a very isolated item, but when you have the flute, you can go there much earlier than you would otherwise.
Yeah, that's a really good play because the Sphere Zero items, as they call them, the items you could get like from the start of the game, they tend to have more progression items in that sphere than others.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're certainly more likely to have the 3 possible puzzle pieces you might need to get into the Dark World. The hammer, glove upgrades, Moon Pearl.
True.
But yeah, the statistics, I think, are like, it's a 12% chance that any location that does not have any other item requirements contains progression of some type. That's the chance, not in Keysanity. In Keysanity, I'm sure it's much lower. Whereas when you add on item requirements, then the chance drops quite a lot. And there's the book and puzzle piece number 2 for Dark World access in the back of Escape with that Moon Pearl drop.
Nice. That also allows him, if he chooses, to do fake clippers to access the waterfall fairy chests. So it's a couple more items he could look at.
Yeah, and it looks like Glan is fluting to fake flip now, so Glan might miss out on the waterfall fairy because they don't have a moon pearl yet. Thus isolating that location and making it less likely they'll come back to it later.
He might just be doing hobo to get it out of the way right now.
Buane doing an interesting flipperless Chris Houlihan by bombing himself into the back end of escape. He doesn't actually have flippers, so he didn't have to do it that way, but it's slightly faster to go there than it is to walk all the way over to the right.
Yeah, that's really nice. It's a much shorter walk, and you don't have to just respawn over and over.
Yeah, it's super cool when you have that much intimate knowledge of these really weird out of the way glitches. I know that Buane really enjoys the theory crafting aspect of Randomizer, so I'm sure he got a kick out of that.
Yeah, there's another way to do it that I don't really see anyone going for. It's accessing the Houlihan room from the Uncle Jock near the castle. Usually requires bonking onto the bottom of the screen to kind of dislodge it there.
Yeah, the few pits like that, including you can even do it with the Ganon drop, I believe. Not that you ever would. So we've checked a lot of locations now. We're about to see what's on Zora. But other than the locations we've seen and they're going to, we have the 2 locations on Death Mountain. I don't believe we've seen a dungeon at all, or the dark room in the sewers. And I think that's it, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Eastern would be nice to look at. It's usually pretty high chance early on, since you don't need any requirements, any items to go through it.
Oh, Titan's Myths! That's the 3rd puzzle piece for Dark World access. Not a ripoff today. Yeah, chat asking if Glan has Moon Pearl. I don't believe he does because he hasn't been to the back room of Escape. Which I'm sure he's going to right now.
Looks like it.
We know that's the right play. Buane setting up for fake flip. Getting it.
Yeah, this is an especially good play to fake flipper to Zora, because Zora technically only requires the glove to access. You could also do it with flippers, but the glove also, the fake flippers also giving access to the waterfall fairy and the ledge item. It's a pretty lucrative check.
Yeah, one of the things that you think about when routing Keysanity is, what am I, could I route this better in the future with another item? And Zora's domain right now, for Buane, there's not much else you could get to route that better. The one thing that he could get is the mirror and route that together with Catfish. But that's such a mid-game thing that if you have access to do the rest of it early game, it's a really solid choice.
And the fact that Glan wasn't able to do that, it says to me that he's probably going to route in the waterfall fairy with the Catfish later on.
Oh, if they have flippers is the key to that one.
True.
Otherwise, you have to fake flip, and if that's your only access to that, if it's a really good sequence break item, we're about to find out. Uh-oh. Wow, fetch quest and useless key. So we have to wait with bated breath for a little bit longer. But yeah, if that shovel returns something, it might be a long time before Glan decides to get to that, depending on how early they get flippers and mirror, because they would need both of those items to route Catfish with a waterfall fairy check.
That is correct. And before flippers and mirror are in desert.
Well, we are commentators, and we did say it, so. And chat's informing us that Quake was found. Was that must have been
That was
on
on
the
Desert Ledge, I
Desert
believe.
Ledge?
Okay, if they are in desert, looks like they won't have access to it right now. So it's kind of a relief for them. Or, well, I don't know about a relief, but it didn't come to fruition this time. And I see Buane has the lamp.
Yeah, that was in. I think that was in Mini Moldorm.
Okay, and he's returning the old man. That's important. It's gonna give him quick access to the mountain later on, whether or not he has the flute activated. I believe he does, but oh, that's probably how he got up here.
Oh yeah, it gives him that saving quit point. I'm not sure how the old man could even see him in the dark with his clothing.
Well, I guess he sees the shadow.
Plan checking out Miner Shed. All right, so there's a small key on Spectacle Rock, which we won't be able to see for a bit.
And Glenn's choice to hop right into Mire, not quite paying off this time. Just get some bombs in a map, I believe.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to route that with other things when you have the mirror. But it's such a quick check at the same time. So if it did have progression, it would have really paid off. Dark Palace big key from
Nice.
Buane, and that was under Spectacle Rock.
It's a tricky one. You wanna do as much as you can there, although the key logic will wind up requiring at least 5 keys to full clear it. It can still have a lot of items.
Yeah, we might see Gland go to pod before getting that big key if they don't get the hammer and they do get the flippers on this little travel of theirs, because that would be a convenient time when they end this Dark World move to go to pod. The theory crafting has begun.
I'm making use of that Skull Woods key to get a little shortcut in the entrance here.
Yeah, smart play.
This Ice Rod is going to be pretty nice in this back half here. Being able to freeze enemies, and with the number of sprites on the screen, the clutch that drops down isn't able to... well, he just kills 2 enemies anyway, so now it drops.
Oh, you're saying if he had frozen all 4?
Yeah. I hadn't considered that it just straight up kills the gels.
Oh, the buzz blobs. But one of them had a full magic in their drop pool, which
yeah, that's nice.
is really nice. Although with half magic, it's not going to be super important.
Yeah, that death, though unfortunate, it's not too bad. It just starts off in the same room, luckily.
Yeah, not very costly. Buane, meanwhile, making the same play that Gland just tried with the Miner Shed.
And opting to use the Gibdos against each other is a very interesting strat. I recommend it. It's not any faster by any means, but it's interesting.
Fighting Gibdos with Gibdos. Yeah, you could have also Bombos cleared the room. I'm not sure if that would have been faster.
Might have been, but would it be as humorous? I'm not so sure.
So Sir Heaven's asking, why would you use the key in that manner, the Skullwoods key? Um, one is just simple speed. It might take a little less time to go through it. It's true you can save the key for the back half later, but the only reason you might want to save a key, in my opinion, is if you're trying to save on magic, so you don't have to kill that Gibdo right before Mothula. But if you're confident that you won't need that, especially if you have half magic, you might just burn the key and have a little bit quicker time through the dungeon.
Yeah, Skullwoods has 3 keys in chests, and one of them is in its vanilla location in the lower right chest with spikes and Gibdos, but you don't actually need all 3 keys to get through, because there are other keys as well under pots and just held on to by the Gibdo later on.
Yeah, and in fact, you don't even need to use the key on that door there if you save and quit. Of course, that it like would never make sense to try to save that key for any reason, but yeah, you could. Flippers!
There we go, there's one piece of the puzzle.
Oh no, hopefully I didn't curse Glan.
That gives them access to the shovel.
Oh yes, logically, and he's the one who didn't pick that up. So what could help Glan here is if they pick up the mirror, then they can route Catfish in with the Waterfall Fairy, assuming the shovel has progression, which we haven't seen yet. And what could hurt Glan is if they don't get the hammer and they route around the Dark Palace without the big key.
Yeah, that might have helped Glan by giving him access to the shovel, or it could have just hugely wasted his time. We'll see someday.
Ooh, phew. Didn't get that accidental heal right before the death warp that they've set up. We'll see if Buane falls for it. I'm not sure. They might have picked up another heart piece.
It's pretty great whenever a player picks up a heart piece right before death warping and just instantly refills their hearts.
Yeah, it's funny for us, for sure. I'm sure they hate it.
Yeah.
It's Map Town.
Yeah, that's not so bad, actually. I mean, the Ganon's Tower map is completely useless, but getting a lot of maps early on is really nice to kind of guide you in what direction you want to go later on with the knowledge that they give you. For those who don't know, the Keysanity maps actually have an additional function. Normally, you would just check the map to see what's the crystal and a pendant, but in Keysanity, you can't find that out until you get the map to the corresponding dungeon.
Yeah, and speaking of which, we saw a map check from Glan there. So we know that Red Crystal Swamp, non-red crystal is Skullwoods, and I think it's definitely a pendant, but I'm pretty sure it was a non-green pendant on Turtle Rock. I think it might have been red. Another pod small key. So what's that? 2 pod small keys? And a big key that Glan doesn't have? Glan heading back up might be taking the Smith with him.
I guess he might as well.
If that's the case, then we probably won't see him flipper around to pod. He'll probably save and quit after Hype Cave. So that's good news, I think. Gives him the chance to get that big key.
Yeah, on his way down to Hype Cave. It's or as some may call it nowadays, Cave 73.
Ooh.
It's kind of been demoted lately.
Oh, that's so sad.
You should have a lot of keys.
It's just been reduced to a number.
And he's unable to check the Circle of Bushes cave, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Not until he has mirror.
It's kind of sad, but at the same time, You know, I'd like to think that it's for the best, really, because you know, like people have all these expectations of Hype Cave, but if you lower your expectations and it's just Cave 73, then when it pays out, you know, you're all happy and excited about it.
Yeah,
So
I like to gauge its interest on a scale of 5. Just like it has 5 items, so you just measure the value of the items on an arbitrary amount.
well, in this case, it's 2 out of 5 with that fire rod and sword pickup. Both the items needed to
Wow.
go fight Mothula, and with half magic, I think we might see Glenn head there soon.
Yeah, and for sword as well, I'd give that like with the addition of the Misery Mire map, I'd say a 2.5.
Yeah, that's true. You can't count that map out. And was that Ice Palace as the second red? I believe it was.
Yes.
Where's he going? Is he going to Ice Palace with the frog?
Maybe Pyramid?
Oh no, that's right. He doesn't have his mirror. What am I thinking? So yeah, you're right. He's going to Pyramid. Now, can you take the frog into a dungeon?
No, you can't take the frog into any 2 entrance cave or dungeon. Just, in the code, it's basically the same thing.
Maybe we'll see them go up to Zora though, which might further isolate that waterfall fairy. Or by Zora, I mean, did I say Zora? I meant Catfish.
Yeah, Catfish. Unless they find mirror here or the Catfish, that would be maybe good for Glan. We don't know yet.
Oh, he's moving still.
Bomb upgrade. Yeah, I guess this makes sense since you tend to want to save and quit out of Catfish anyway.
Yeah, that is smart thinking. Buane looks like very similar idea here, but he didn't check the 5/6 crystal. No, maybe he's going back for it. He just realized.
Looks like it, yeah. Now, to be honest, knowledge is not really crucial. They could just clear dungeons and hope their crystals are pendants. And knowing Keysanity, you may have to dip pendant dungeons anyways. But it helps them make choices more easily. And you just want to keep going in Keysanity, just in races in general. Even if you're not sure about something, just keep going.
Yeah, it's that ABCs always be clearing, and especially in Keysanity, it doesn't really matter whether or not it's a pendant or a crystal dungeon until you're well into the late game. But it's nice to check that 5/6 crystal now while you're close to it, because if you have to come back later to check it, then you've just lost, you know, the 25 seconds it takes you to save and quit and get back up there. All right, the frog, the dwarf, paying 20 rupees for that world tour. I think it was worth more than that.
And technically, he paid 10 to get those 20, so it was really only 10.
Where was the 10 cost? Oh, is that when you turn the dwarf in?
It just takes 10 rupees or best offer. Incidentally, if you don't have 10 rupees, it's okay. We'll just take you down to 0 and give you your item.
I did not know that. Still, what a ripoff. I have a feeling that Link's not going to go into the travel business. It's going to stick with boss killing. A lot more lucrative.
Well, then again, when you order a taxi and it takes you like all around the county, and then like to your destination, like right next door. I don't know if you'd want to tip that guy very much.
He's just running up the meter. Yeah, Glenn heading up to Moth, but without that magic, we do know that the blue buzz blobs have a full magic drop, so maybe we'll see him try to farm one from them. Did they have a potion that provided magic? Maybe.
They have a bee. Oh,
Yeah, I
they
think
probably have a green potion. I saw Buane had a green potion, so he might have it as well.
Yeah, that must have been the one they picked up from Kakariko. That explains why he's just coming straight here.
And conveniently getting a heart container right before fighting Mocula. A lot of players tend to just opt to fight Mocula first. That makes a lot of sense in open and standard when you can count items, and you're gonna have to fight Mocula anyway. You might as well see if you need to check the chest. Although in Keysanity, it could be anything. It's not limited to a certain number of items in the dungeons anymore.
Yeah, so the advantage of checking it first is, you might get a mail upgrade. You might get a heart container, like they just got.
Mm-hmm.
And our runner's converging here on Skull Woods, which is definitely the play right now. I mean, another option... Oh, no, never mind. I was going to say Ice Palace, but they don't have a hammer. That would be a bad idea.
Then again, it could always have the hammer or something leading to the hammer.
That's true. Well, in that case, it would be fortunate, but I think it would still be a bad idea. It would just be a lucky bad idea.
A pod key leading to the hammer in pod.
Oh god.
Oh, we got B strats on Mocula.
The memes.
Shoutouts to bug fights.
Hammer. Speak of the devil.
Nice.
That pickup crystal at almost exactly 33 minutes. We'll see. We'll just be able to use that to kind of like benchmark Buane v Glan. Of course, Buane has checked some things that Glan hasn't, so it's not a totally fair matchup. But it'll give us like a general idea.
You know, this is a pretty smooth seed so far, actually.
Yeah, they haven't had to make any like nail-biting choices. And picking up on hearts in that Link's house there makes me think he's going to Ice Palace.
I hope so. I actually never recommend picking up the hearts there. It's so slow, and you're probably gonna find art refills anyway, especially if you're searching overworld.
Speaking of which, he could have just kissed his bottle merchant here, and she would have healed him up quick.
Yeah, I recommend that. She's a cutie.
But when you've got a billion things in your mind, and you're thinking about what's next, you're not thinking. You're like, okay, I'm going to get these hearts, and I'm going to think while I get them. He's not thinking about, I might be heading to the bottle merchant next and heal up there.
True.
All right, Buane with their moth kill, picking up their hammer.
I see. Glen's going to check those 2 chests and get his shovel.
Now we'll see if they turn it in. Oh, they're going to do a throw item. All right, so Buane getting that crystal about in a minute and a half behind Glan, but now Glan's doing some stuff that Buane's already done, so. I didn't see what the potion was. What was it?
A green potion. It's good enough. You would like a blue potion, but green potion oftentimes is just about as good.
Yeah, well, that'll complement his red potion really well. So Buane not picking up any potions before heading to Ice Palace, which will allow them to catch up a little bit, actually.
Also interesting to know, logic-wise, they did get a key, a small key for Ice Palace, as well as the big key, so they can full clear this by the logic, I believe.
Does Canis Samaria required by the logic?
Well, I guess other than you do need all of the keys, or most of the keys in Kena Samaria to beat Cold Stare, but you might as well just beat Cold Stare while you're here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that makes total sense. Both selecting a different medallion to clear this Pangator room. And picking up that powder. Fetch quest number 2.
Although more importantly, safety.
Yeah, especially with Buane right now, just getting bodied by those Pangators. Got 1 heart left. Now, Buane's the one who didn't grab any potions, so he's going to have to be very careful here. In fact, without a heart, can he do the bomb jump?
No.
Oh, he just picked him up. So he's going to get 1 try on that bomb jump here.
I thought I saw him buy a red potion. Was that Glan?
Glan, I believe it was Glan who bought a red potion. I don't think he has any. Yeah, he's just realizing now. So he's got to find a heart drop, or he's got to die. That's unfortunate.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, those Pangators just messing him up in that room there. It looks like Bugnet was in the chest. I missed it from Glan.
That would help for Aghanim, except they don't have any of the Castle Tower keys yet.
Yeah, unless you really need that compass. No reason to do Aghanim. There's the GT big key.
There we go. Some value already.
Yeah, so whether or not this was a pendant dungeon, it is a crystal. It had value.
Red crystal as well, so that's another 2 items. For anyone new to Randomizer or unaware of the requirements, the big bomb in the bomb shop in the Dark World that gets you access to the Pyramid Fairy, it actually only requires crystals 5 and 6, even in vanilla. And for that reason, the developers of Randomizer opted to recolor 5 and 6 crystals to red, so it's more obvious on the map.
Glan picking up a cape in the Freezor room and a small key to another pod small key. Wow. All right, Buane's got 1 shot at this, I believe. And they got it.
Ooh, that's a relief.
Yeah, you'd hate to have to do that a 3rd time. It definitely puts you on tilt. Buane's real consistent though, so I bet that he's. I mean, I'm sure he's upset that he took that death he didn't have to take, but I doubt he's on tilt right now.
Playing it safely, using bombos on those Pangators.
He's not going to make the same mistake twice.
wise choice for sure. Even more insurance with that powder. But still, Fighter Sword Cold Stare coming up. Half
Yeah, it's
magic and
nice.
fire rock.
Easy.
Not bad.
Yeah, Glan's got a huge advantage here with that health as well as that magic potion. I believe Buane still has their magic potion, however, so
Yes.
in terms of fighting power, he'll have it, but he can't take too many hits to Cold Stare. Oh, you know what? Buane's got an empty bottle, so with that net, I wonder if he's going to pick
nice.
up a fairy.
Good call.
We'll see if he realizes, or cares to take the time. He might just be in a rush.
Yeah, GTB key was at the top of the 3 chest detour.
That was a nice kill by Glan, super quick.
Yeah, good attack power is often really helpful in survival in boss fights.
Didn't have to use any of their potions. Here comes the fairy pickup. Very smart safety strat there. And looks like Glan's gonna go check that escape dungeon. Oh wait, they haven't done Uncle yet? So I guess Glan's still playing catch up with some of the overworld that Buane has cleared. We'll see if this allows Buane to catch back up with Glan.
Yeah,
so far
he
this scene's been pretty linear.
Wuhan. It's pretty good to do this at the same time, like after you have a weapon to clear castle as well. You might have been waiting on a key to the castle tower, but it's getting kind of late and there are so many items here. You'd be remiss to just wait on these.
Yeah, you can't put it off for too long. They got a lot of real early hints taking them in some interesting directions, but now that it's starting to slow down again, this is definitely the right call. Or a good call, rather. We don't know if it's the right call. It's a smart one, though.
It's the interesting thing about Randomizer is no matter how good your play is, there's no guarantee whether it's right.
Buane entering their Cold Stare fight. Oh, trying to use some hammer strats here, getting a little bodied, but they've got that fairy, so they can afford to be a little dangerous in this fight. Getting some great double shots. I don't know how many of those were intentional, but that was beautiful.
Yeah, that was a great fight. I mean, it wasn't perfect.
And considering that Glan played catch-up just a little bit there with Uncle, I would estimate that Buane's only about a minute behind. If you can even consider leads this early in a Keysanity game.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell. With people checking different locations at different times, and sometimes checking them at a different time can give you an edge by just doing so more efficiently. And in this case, I think this play to combine the Uncle check with the castle is pretty good for Glan.
Yeah, in some ways I was saying he was catching up with Buane by doing Uncle, but you're absolutely right. Because he's doing it more efficiently, he's actually gained time in this weird way. I mean, look at how similar these runners are. Like very similar capabilities, very similar knowledge of the game, skill level. They're so close together. I mean, their first race was, I think Gland's first race was October 7th, and Buane's was exactly a week after that. They both chose Link sprites. This race was meant to be.
Oh, I just realized this is very interesting that Glan did a death warp to get back to the start of the dungeon to do the dark section. Unfortunately, Buane just caught a fairy in Ice Palace.
Oh. It's so automatic to just set up the death warp without thinking if you have a fairy or not. We'll see if Buane remembers or if they just save and quit. And leave this chest isolated. I missed what they have, but Glan is setting up another death warp. Oh, they have the cape. They can check that first chest in Castle Tower.
Hmm. This is a fine play. It's just unfortunate that he had so much health to need to drain 1/4 heart at a time. Uh-oh, Buane's setting up a death warp here.
Yeah, but he remembered. He got the fairy out. And Victus, welcome to the match. $50. Okay, so I didn't see what was in the dark sewers chest. Did you?
No, I think it was nothing important. I don't remember what it was though.
I'm about to see it a second time. The flashback. Oh, Hahasel is telling us it's on the. It was a heart piece.
But will it be the 4th heart piece?
Phew. Well, they didn't do the death warp, so they might be saving that check until they get a key. Oh, here's some more overworld that Buane's already done. So at this point, I think they're neck and neck. I don't think that there's much other overworld divergence between them. Looks like Buane's prepping for a back cave turn-in.
You know what Glan could do right now that Buane wasn't able to when he was up here is Spike Cave.
Oh, right. That half magic and that cape? It's even in logic at this point. Getting that big key to Thieves' Town. Wow. And Glan picking up their pod big key before they had to pod, so that's nice. That's good for them.
And is Thieves' Town the green pendant?
I don't think we know yet, or maybe we do. Oh yeah, it looks like it's green on the tracker there. I didn't see the map check or the Sahasrahla talk. I don't think anybody's heading in that direction yet, actually. Eastern and Sahasrahla are totally untouched. Nice bomb jump at Spectacle Rock from Glan. So yeah, it looks like they are heading to Spike Cave.
With that last bomb, interestingly enough.
Ooh. Yeah, hopefully they realize, because that can really screw you up if you don't realize you're out of bombs.
I would think he probably just realized it when suddenly his item turned into a bright brown bag.
All right, so we get a red shield.
Oh.
Yeah, not a lot of dungeon options at this point that are nice. I mean, they could dip Pod, they can dip Eastern. Looks like Crystal Tower of Hera, but maybe we already knew that?
You can at least beat Blind now.
Well, Buane can, and we'll see how long it takes Glant to go over to that back cave. But it looks like they're heading towards Eastern and Sahasrara.
Okay. Not bad, not bad. Now, I thought I already checked Sir Hasselhoff, but...
The bow! The bow from Buane here.
That's... Oh, that is a significant edge when Glen's opting for Eastern.
Well, they both still lack the big key, so it could be required double dip. It could also be a pendant. But if Glan goes to Pod right afterward, then that could be a huge divergence between these players.
It's not a bad play to be checking Eastern at this point. It could very well have the mirror for all he knows. It's just unfortunate that it's going this way without the mirror or the bow.
It's another one of those Sphere Zero locations that are open to you at the very beginning of the game, so very likely to contain certain kinds of progression.
Yeah, and actually, if I remember right, I don't think Buane checked Eastern either.
Yeah, I think neither of them have. And Tower of Hera big key from Glan, and of course they can't get there yet.
Still nice to find before you enter it.
Yeah, especially if you have to take the long way around. Since we haven't seen Mirror, if they get the hook shot, then then they might have to take the long way around twice if they don't get that big key first. I must have missed the big chest from Buane. Did you happen to catch that? Or did they miss it too?
Blue boomerang.
Okay, phew. Nice kill on blind. Hook shot!
Wow.
Speaking of...
Thieves Town holding all the goodies.
So, yeah, Buane having that hook shot early, but Glan having the Tower of Hera big key. And Buane having the bow, too. This is suddenly got very divergent.
Yeah, I was thinking Buane had the edge, and now it's less clear once again. And this final chest in Eastern is in the logic as well, with the lamp in hand.
Yeah, this is a kind of a tough spot for Buane in that if there is some kind of nice progression behind that Tower of Hera big key, once you get the bow and you don't have the big key to Eastern Palace, you're actually less likely to go there because you now suddenly have much more incentive to wait and see if you can get that big key first.
Mm-hmm.
GT small key. Setting up a death warp, so it looks like Glan must be going to Pod right afterward. Actually, no, they could just be fluting.
So not quite paying off.
Yeah, we'll have to see whether or not that Tower of Hera big key was crucial.
The biggest thing in Keysanity seeds in races is that you want to eliminate as many double dips as possible, but you just know you're gonna double and triple dip dungeons regardless.
Eastern is definitely one of those dungeons where you just kind of accept that. I mean, it's kind of a slow double dip. It's not even the fastest double dip you can do, but it so often has progression. And there's that castle tower small key. So I don't think Glan did come to. I don't think either of them came to the back end of Sahasrahla.
I guess not.
Yeah, the key of Keysanity, if you'll excuse the unintended pun, is definitely the efficiency. Like you were saying earlier, that overworld efficiency, but the dungeon efficiency, like as captured by avoiding those double dips. Swamp Palace small key.
That's an important find that unlocks 10, 9 chests, I guess.
Yeah, and that dungeon has definitely, I'm sure, shot to the front of Buane's mind now.
It's actually 11 chests because it is a 5/6 crystal.
Oh, wow. And they got the Misery Mire big key as well, and the Master Sword. Buane getting tons of value on Death Mountain.
Kind of as expected. Yeah, speaking of Swamp, he does have all the means to full clear it.
Yeah, the only thing he's missing is the Swamp Palace big key, but generally when there's that one item you might be isolating in a dungeon, you do it anyway. You know, you don't think about it as a dip. You're just like, well, I hope this is not required, and then you do it anyway.
So with this one key in pod, Glan is able to check 3 locations.
TR small
Wait.
key.
Oh, he has...
Yeah, I think he had 3 keys when he came in.
I see. Okay, so that opens up quite a few more.
Yeah, is that 9 or 10? And a useless small key on the ether tablet. Actually, not totally useless. It can change your dungeon routing slightly in Misery Mire. Right. Chat reminding me he can't go to Swamp right away because he has to have that mirror. Oh, vanilla pod key.
Handy.
Yeah, that means when Buane comes here with the bow, he's going to have the means to full clear all of pod. And was that a big Swamp Palace big key from Glan? All I saw was Swamp Palace in a text box.
Small key. Wait. Oh, from Glan. I was looking at the wrong screen. Oh yeah, the big key to Swamp Palace.
Yeah, with 4 small keys and the bow, that's all you need if you can do the hammer jump, which I'm sure both of these players can. It looks like Glan's setting up for it now.
Unfortunately, Glan is going to need 5 because he opened up that front door that he was unable to skip currently.
Yeah, that could be significant. So Glan actually went all the way around to approach the bomb jump from the south. The bomb jump's slightly easier from the north because you have more time before the floor falls out from under you. And Buane picking up that 5th Dark Palace big key. It's his 4th, but he's going to get that 5th when he's back in pod anyway. So that'll save him from coming in and out of the dungeon through the bow side multiple times.
And that's good news for Glan. It'll be able to get those keys up on the mountain when he's there.
Yeah, he won't have key locked himself out of the dungeon, but it might make him dip it an extra time. Nice hookshot skip from Buane and Super Bunny Cave. It's not the hardest tech in the world, but it just feels so nice when you get it. It's so lovely to watch.
So with this death fork that Glenn is doing, I don't know what he's looking to do next. Oh, did he not check the big key chest?
I think it's just this last chest that he's able to get.
Okay.
So that means when he comes back, the only chests he won't have checked are the two on the bow side and Helmasaur.
Yeah, that'll be a nice final trip, just being able to go right through.
Buane getting another TR small key, which I believe is the third, as well as the final fetch quest item, the mushroom. Looks like he's going to peek at what TR is. It's Quack.
Wow. So that's access.
Yeah, at this point, just looking at Buane's screen, the players have access to so many of the potential progression items. Oh, there's the fourth key to TR that Glenn just picked up. So we know where all the small keys to TR are
Nice.
now. And we're still uncertain about which dungeons are pendants, but in terms of items that they might need, not including keys, they may still be looking for, we don't know, the Ether Medallion or the Cane of Samaria. Oh, and of course the mirror.
So this one fetch quest dungeon, or fetch quest item, Glenn has checked. He's moving on to the other. It looks like. That'll be good news for him.
Ah, looks like he skipped the Bat Cave. He's going up to check Bumper Ledge.
Okay, that's a fine play. It's not the right play, but it's an okay check.
Yeah, small key. I'm pretty sure at this point we know that this small key isn't needed for anything. It could be the Desert Palace small key, actually. I think that's the one small key that could be useful. But of course, Glan doesn't know that. He thinks he's still missing pod keys. Doesn't have all the TR keys. Oh, speak of the devil.
Yeah, he could use Swamp Palace key as well.
I'm not sure, but I think that was an unintentional death there to the everyone's favorite enemy, the pterodactyl.
Probably. I guess it won't be a huge setback since this is a pretty out of the way area anyway. But I guess hurts the pride a little bit.
Looks like they're going to turn in that small key right away. So it changed their routing a little bit. Actually, I'm not positive about it. They might have been planning to do this anyway.
You know, one thing Buane could check at least is Meyer.
Mirror, green pendant.
Oh, wow. Thieves Town loaded.
Wow. Yeah, suddenly that's a huge lead for Buane. I mean, Buane's already got a bunch of items, but they're accessible to Glan. He just has to go to the right place. But with that green pendant turn in, Buane just acquired a significant lead. And although the red meringue's nice, it's not quite enough value to even it up.
All we need now is the big keys to the crystal dungeons, which we don't quite know all of yet.
Yeah, still missing some intel.
I know they have the Meyer map, I'm pretty sure. At least Glan does.
And they may still need Ether Medallion and Canis and Mario. We don't know, depending on what's required. We know that Kane won't be required for TR because it's a pendant unless there is progression in TR. So it'll all come down to if Meyer is a crystal or not. Okay, Glan finally getting their hint to go to Thieves Town.
Nice blue tunic upgrade for Buane now that he's beaten Cold Stare and Mothula and Blind.
It's got the blue belt, blue eyes going on. I think because Glan has cleared so much other stuff, he could catch up real quick still. He's gonna go fight Blind, get the hook shot, get the bow. He's gonna get that green pendant, and if he turns that in right away, then he'll be caught up. Oh, sorry, I missed that. Apparently, we've seen that Misery Mire required Quake, so we know that Ether Medallion is not necessary.
And it looked like Meyer is a pendant as well. Interesting.
Oh, so hints that Canis Samaria may not be needed. We're not sure because it might still contain progression. So with that, we know what dungeons are required then.
I think all we need now is the Eastern Palace Big Key and the Desert Palace Big Key.
Yeah, very close to go mode.
And we know where the pod wall, Glan has the pod Big Key. I forget where that was, to be honest.
They both got it. No, wait, no, Buane hasn't had it yet, have they? It was in Eastern Palace. Oh no, that was the Tower of Hera Big Key. I have no idea where that was. No, that's what we're talking about.
Oh, that's the one I was looking at. Oh, okay. Yeah, I said pod, but I meant Tower of Hera.
Oh, good. Okay, so see, I read your mind. All right, Glan with their bow pickup. Yeah, so theorizing about pedestal options, of course, the two items we're looking for are the Eastern Palace Big Key and Desert Palace Big Key. And then there's a whole bunch of locations that you could consider like kind of fetchy a little bit. Dragon Master here pointing out that Tower of Hera Small Key, Swamp Palace Big Key are a couple. But it could also be Boots, which would unlock some locations. Or, of course, the Canis Samaria, giving you access to all of Turtle Rock and Vitreous.
So Buane with a technical lead at the moment, but it just depends on who gets those big keys first. And
it's hard.
It could be anyone.
It's very hard to say in Keysanity because it's like only 2 items are needed, but sometimes you get those 2 items right away, and sometimes they take a whole nother hour.
The fact that he does have a lead on like being able to check more locations, that could mean that he's gonna miss out on one of the big keys for a long time as well. You never know.
Yeah, if those big keys are in a location that's earlier logically, then Glan might be able to catch up that way as well.
Yeah, or it could be in that big chest that Buane just passed up because it doesn't have the big key.
That's true. That's right. That's one thing Glan has. So Buane choosing to not do left side, which again, if you're just looking for 2 items, I think that's a good call. I mean, you could get lucky and they could both be on the north side here. Otherwise, we'll see if they come back in and grab those 2 chests, or if they choose to isolate them and go elsewhere.
And Glenn taking a moment here to splice while his feet is down. And we see Buane going on to fight Argus. Although Master Sword Argus, not ideal, to be honest.
Yeah, quite a bit slower. You got to have 2 sword slashes instead of 1. Probably still faster than the turn-based hammer fight, though.
Mm-hmm. Ideally, you would want to charge a spin and get 2 of the puffs with a single spin slash, but that's easier said than done, of course.
Yeah, it can cancel your spin midway through, losing you time sometimes. Oh, big key. Desert Palace.
There we go. That's one of the 2.
That was a very lucky drop for Buane.
I'm thinking is going to be going to Pod and Eastern next. So this will give Glenn some time to catch up. However, Buane is still making progress on clearing crystals. Oh no, he's going back into swamp.
Checking the left
Which may or
side.
may not pay off.
Yeah, he needs 2 items to be in legit go, but we know where one of them is. So this could still be the Eastern Palace big key. Things that he doesn't want to see right now include, well, I think the biggest one is Kane of Samaria, because suddenly that puts in a whole bunch of pendant dungeons you don't want to go to. Oh yeah, chat pointing out that my Kane of Samaria theorizing is bad theorizing, because you would need the Kane of Samaria to clear those pendants. So it's just the Tower of Hera small key, Swamp Palace big key, and the Eastern Palace big key. So rejoining Glan, they looks like they found that hookshot and took it straight to Death Mountain, which has some of the items that they need.
Now, if you were Glenn, what would you opt to check next?
That's a hard call, especially because he's already been to Eastern and Pod. Otherwise, that might be a really juicy location, and it might be a reason that's keeping him from going to Sahasrara. Oh, we got the Temperate Sword from Buane on the left side of Swamp there.
Nice. And Ether. Great.
Yes, we're about to see from Glan potentially heading into Tower of Hera, which we haven't seen yet, what those top 3 chests contain. If Eastern Palace Big Key is up there, that might be a good thing for them. Also might lead them back in the direction of the east side of the Light World, allowing them to pick up their mirror.
Yeah, this is going to be the first time we see these items.
I mean, I'm honestly shocked that Buane hasn't been to Dark Palace or Eastern Palace yet at all.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to single dip those, but it's so rare that you would ever get to. It's kind of a unusual play, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the only explanation. He's holding out for that potential Eastern Palace big key, which is also his go. Well, actually, he would need the Tower of Hera big key, so he doesn't know it's his go, but it is.
And it could clear a quick crystal here in desert.
Yeah, good idea to get that out of the way. But if you're considering between, potential pod EP dip, he might choose to go back into Misery Mire. I mean, because he's right here. Oh no, Gland taking an unfortunate fall. Looked like he was setting up for the bomb jump to the big chest.
And that's the second castle tower key. You could find a Eastern Palace key in the castle, in the dark room.
Yeah, one of these runners didn't grab the first chest. Do you remember who that was?
Glenn got the first chest, I believe.
Gland setting up for the bomb jump a second time. Gets it this time.
Yeah, such a risky bomb jump.
Yeah, it's super punishing.
He didn't really have to do it either because he had the hook shot. Would have had to have either fallen or bomb jumped back anyway, but still.
Yeah, it is slightly faster to still do the bomb jump with the hook shot, I believe. But yeah, you've got that risk. Spin strats on Moth or on Moldorm and just barely avoiding that center pitfall.
It's dangerous. But it does skip the fast phase if you get all three spins.
Yeah, doing tempered sword damage. So unfortunately, no value for Glan up at Tower of Hera. And where's Buane going here? Maybe K45? No.
Maybe
Super
Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah.
Just cleared the 6th crystal. And if he wants, he could route this in with the castle tower as well.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and Buane's the one, I believe, who didn't check either of the chests, so that would be a good play for them.
Yeah, previously, I believe Glan had death warped out of the dark room to go up Aga Tower just for the one chest, and Buane just opted to save and quit, just having too much health to bother killing himself on the snakes and bats.
I totally missed those items that Buane just got, but I don't think either of them had a text box.
Okay. Yeah, it was a heart piece and 300 rupees.
Okay, phew. So it's still a race.
And that's indeed what he's doing, going up Aga Tower.
Yeah, really smart, efficient routing here. I think we have to add another possibility into our pedestal theorizing, because I don't think we don't have this Skull Woods big key, so it could also be the Desert Palace big key is behind the Skull Woods big chest,
True.
which would be one of those very unfortunate possibilities because that's going to be like one of the very last things you check is a pedestal pull leading to that one item location.
I'm a little concerned about Glenn. Oh, well, I guess not that concerned. Because he's up on the mountain, it may be giving him thoughts of Turtle Rock. Hopefully this mushroom takes him out of there.
Without that cane, though. And no boots, so even if you could hover.
And Buane opting to go into Misery Mire instead of full clearing pod.
Yeah, who knows? This could still pay off for him. If he gets that big key here, then he can single dip Eastern. Uh-oh, Glan thinking about what's next.
Yeah, it's a tough choice. Does he remember he got green pendant just now?
Yeah, he does have several options, so it can't be that he's forgotten something. I mean, he can also, double dip pod on the east side. Oh, but looks like he's going to Misery Mire?
That makes sense. It might be a correct play.
Yeah, so getting a little bit of sync here.
So interestingly, if they both find the Eastern Palace big key, I think that would give Glenn a bit of an edge, maybe, if he thinks to go straight to salad sandwich with a green pendant.
I mean, at that point, why not? Like that's the thing you're waiting for. You know that Eastern Palace is a crystal. It's got the 6 items in it, and he'd be missing the Tower of Terror big key. But yeah, like that's all ABCs.
Yeah, because he still needs to do Swamp Palace, which Buane has already done, but he gets to go mode it, whereas Buane is still looking for the Tower of Hera key, and if he goes pod before Eastern, then he may wind up full clearing that.
That's a great point. And I mean, and we're just theory crafting here, but one of the considerations is he's got mirror. He would most likely, I would think, go to Eastern first because we know that pod's a pendant. I'm pretty sure he knows that too. Oh no, pod's not a pendant. It's a crystal. What am I thinking? Yeah. That's totally right. Oh, crap. Glan picking up the Canis Amaria.
Okay, so yeah, Mimic Cave with the Eastern Palace big key for sure.
Oh god. Luckily, a TR dip is probably not at the forefront of Glan's mind because he doesn't have that big key. And there's the Eastern Palace big key.
Ooh.
This is exactly the scenario you described. So let's see how it actually plays out here. See, here's the thing for Glan, without the mirror, which he needs to pick up from Sriracha Sauce, does he then go the Eastern route first, talking to Sahatrala first, or does he do the double dip? Yeah, well, we know that's the right play.
Well, as long as he goes to that area, I think it'll be fine, because all he has left is the Mimic room in pod, and just the big chest in Eastern.
So remind me where the Swamp Palace small key was.
It was on the mountain. He did get it. It was in the
Oh, he did.
Paradox Cave, bottom half.
So the thing that he's missing then is the Desert Palace big key, which we know is in Swamp, correct? Is that where that was?
Oh, right. That's right.
So both of our runners missing one thing. Buane needs to get the Tower of Hera big key from Eastern Palace. Glan needs to get the Desert Palace big key from Swamp. Buane is clearing out Misery Mire, not knowing that that's not required. Glan is thinking, making a hard choice about where to go.
Yeah, he doesn't have the mirror either to get into Swamp in the first place.
This is a lot of item menu time.
Yeah, I would say Buane has the lead, but it's still so unclear because he doesn't know where that key is.
I don't know
But
what's up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think he will be going there next.
Yeah, this item menu time has got me slightly scared, and the only explanation I can think of, other than like, you know, real life stuff that might have come up, is that he's trying to figure out whether or not he's in go mode right now. So he's like looking at his keys and his items.
Maybe a bathroom break or getting a drink, just while he thinks.
BRB bio. All right, he's back.
It's looking bad for him, but not quite unrecoverable.
Especially with Buane making the right call here, heading in this direction, but it could come down to whether or not he chooses to do pod first.
Definitely go into the Dark World so you could take the portal with you.
Yeah, so of the options, just theory crafting some more here, what might be going through Buane's head is, you know, it's much more likely that the Tower of Hera big key is in pod, but all the chests in Eastern Palace are practically on the way to the boss. So go moding pod is a lot better than go moding Eastern.
Mm-hmm. That's why I think a lot of players opt to do Eastern first.
Good, he's whipping out the mirror. This is great news for Buane. Unfortunately, Glan going on to defeat Vitreous as well. So I believe it's this first chest right now. Isn't that true? Bien go? There it is.
Yeah.
So unless I'm missing something, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, our first runner has entered go. Buane at 1 hour, 28 minutes, and just about 25 seconds.
And plenty of safeties with the blue mail, tempered sword, silver arrows, the half magic in bottles.
Yeah, I believe they still have a green potion as well.
And the powder.
Yeah, they're set.
Now, unfortunately, it's looking really bad for Glan.
Yeah, not only is Buane in go first, but they've also finished off Swamp Palace first. So the best outcome for Glan here is if they go straight for Swamp, or sorry, straight for wherever that Swamp small key was.
He's got the Swamp small key from the mountain. He just needs the mirror from Sarah Silverman.
Oh, that's right, yes. Yeah, amazing. Amazing that you get to skip entire Turlock. Like, I think
that's pretty unheard of.
a lot of overworld still that's been undone. I think this is going to be a pretty awesome clear rate from Buane here.
This is almost certainly going to be sub 2, I think.
Yeah, definitely from Buane. It looks like Gland's making the right play. They might be doing Eastern first, but it doesn't matter. They have to do it anyway. Now it looks like they're going to Sriracha Sauce, so.
Very good.
The only thing that could trip them up, that could trip Glan up here, is if they decide to do Eastern and then pod right after before going to Swamp. But, you know, your ABCs, you want to go to that Crystal dungeon first.
Yeah, Glan's already cleared Eastern. He just needs the big key for it.
Which they have.
Most of pod.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they're setting up for the Eastern then pod move.
Okay. That's not so bad.
Yeah, since they've almost full cleared the dungeon anyway, the only time loss that they would have here, I mean, they have to defeat Helmasaur anyway. The only time loss they'd have is if they decide to do the bow side.
Which I'm sure he's going to. It's not that slow, though.
Yeah, that's like a little over a minute, maybe.
Especially since it puts you out, like, right by the switch.
So Buane in a nice position in that after he defeats Helmasaur here, he can just go right up to Tower of Hera, go mode up to Mothula, and then mirror right back. Or, you know, if he sets up the mirror right, he can just go right into Ganon's tower.
There's also a good point. The Tempered Sword was in left side swamp, so Glan might miss out on that.
Oh no! So you won't even have like an attack advantage. Maybe he's gonna have a disadvantage.
Unless the fourth sword is in here.
Just a 50, and what else? Oh no! Big key to Turtle Rock.
Oh.
I mean, hopefully that won't lead him astray. I mean, you still have your ABCs. You have that, you know, Swamp's a crystal.
Yeah, do crystals you can full clear before diving into penance.
Yeah, this could have been a lot worse for Glan if he hadn't have cleared so much of pod earlier with his great dungeon routing while he was here the first time. Of course, Buane got to go mode all of pod, so that's amazing.
So as Buane makes his way up to the Ganon's tower, it has 22 chests that the big key cannot be in because they've already found it in, where was it, Ice Palace? Yeah, Ice Palace big key location. So, yeah.
So instead, we're going to guess which chest it would be in an alternate dimension, and we don't get to know the answer to that question. So this is the metaphysical big key game. Yep, setting up the mirror spot in front of GT. So he's going to be able to step right out and get those crystals going.
Now, what I'm wondering is that will one of those four GT chests on the way up the tower contain a sword for Glan?
Oh, and if he takes the time to poke for it, that could get him back a little bit of time. Unfortunately, he still has that big key to pick up, as well as 3 bosses to finish, whereas Buane's on his way to his very last one.
Now, refresh my memory, where was the big key to Eastern? Like, where in Swamp?
You mean Desert Palace?
Yes. By
Uh,
Eastern, I meant Western, obviously.
it was either in the second to last chest before Argus, or it was behind Argus. I can't remember.
Okay, so he might check left side before going to Argus, maybe. Maybe unlikely, since he's only looking for the one.
Yeah, not sure that the time spent looking for it will have been worth it in terms of time saved up the gauntlet and on Ganon, but I don't know. I suspect that Glan's going to pull a similar move to Buane and skip left side to start. I mean, you're just looking for one item. You know, at that point, I mean, Buane did it when he was looking for 2. At that point, you're hoping, I'm going to find the item in the back half of this dungeon here, and I'm not going to have to do left side. Yeah, very interesting play by Buane, excuse me, to hold off Eastern Palace for so long, especially because of that sphere 0 advantage that we were talking about. It's so likely that it could contain an item. There's those 5 locations without actually going to the boss that have stuff, and then there's all the locations in Pod too. That's 20 locations that he put off just for the possibility that he could go mode each, and it really paid off for him this time. But in another seed, it would have been a big risk, and it might have bit him.
And it did have an important item, it's just that he didn't really need that item until much later.
Yeah, I think Glan following the breadcrumbs there with that earlier dip of Pod, and in most seeds, that's a really good choice. You got the big key, you got those 3 or 4 small Pod keys. But I think it just comes down to what we were saying at the beginning of all this, that routing efficiency, whether it's avoiding double dips or overworld routing. So when you delay locations like that in the hopes that you can either go mode or not have to double dip, you might be screwing yourself over by delaying it, or you could really be giving yourself a huge advantage. And Buane's efficiency in this game has turned out to be excellent.
Yeah, I agree.
Pedestal check. 3 bombs. I wonder if they're avoiding going to Swamp because they don't want to have to go to, they want to be in go mode before they go.
Right. A lot of the players are averse to Swamp. It's not actually so bad. It's a pretty bad feeling to double dip Swamp, but if you're able to full clear it, it's not too terrible.
Yeah, we get to see, I don't think Buane had the Swamp Palace big key, so he might pick up his Tempered from that chest as well.
Possible, yeah. Basically, Glenn had a lot of advantages throughout the match that just did not pay off for him.
Yeah, and then there was that divergence very early on in the mid game. But it paid off for Buane a lot more. Very nice kill on Moldorm too. And Kane O'Brien validation. Wow, Bryans around the world have never felt more validated than they do in this moment.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure Sakura would definitely want players to find McCain O'Brien. Sparkle, sparkle. Of course, a bit too late to make use of it, but oh well.
Yeah, I doubt we'll see it. A nice, potentially triple. It might have been too fast to count. Yeah, he's getting his hits too fast, but he's gotten like 2 triples otherwise.
Yeah, I think that second one was a double.
So Buane entering the fight without any backups, I believe. I don't think they caught a fairy or anything like that. So they have 13 hearts with blue mail. It shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Well, he did once catch a fairy, but he released it.
Yeah, that's right. For the Death Warp. It's just the compass to Swamp Palace.
Okay, now you know there are other items such as the Tempered Sword.
Now we'll see if Glan can get into go before Buane has finished the Ganon fight.
Yeah, he's missing that Tempered, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wonder how Glan's feeling right now. Once they pick up that desert chest, how far ahead or behind they think they might be. I think it must have been behind Argus is the desert big key. Buane finishing off Ganon, no problem at all. And finishing with an official SRL time of 1:44.14.
GG. Yep, that was definitely a very fast seed.
Yeah, amazing 1:44.13 finish time at 14 official SRL time. Is this even Keysanity? Got to skip all of TR. And you have to think about going TR. Got to goal mode Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness.
It was a pretty funny troll at the end with Samaria in Meyer.
Yeah, luckily neither of our runners fell for it, though. Nice silver kill with Glen there. And there it is, their go mode. You didn't even want to look at the crystal. So what Glen has to finish up is just a quick fight with Landless, and then the climb up GT as well. I think they could still sub 2 here.
Yeah, it's looking like it. Desert is a very quick dungeon. And welcome, Buane. Congratulations on the win.
Hey, everybody. Thank you. Interesting, really interesting seed for that first half.
Yeah, you guys diverged quite a bit throughout the match. So, what's it like to enjoy a jet seed for once?
Well, any Keysanity where you really don't have to open any chests in pod is an okay seed in my book.
No kidding. Unfortunately for Glenn, he did opt to do an early dip into Eastern and Pod, so he wound up finding. He did find that early big key to Hera, but it just didn't pan out for him.
Yeah, I take it the boots were nowhere to be found this one?
Nope.
Not so far.
Yeah, that was the first hour of this was really, really rough. No boots, only the fighter sword for a long time, no mirror. It was really tough making any kind of sensible route for a long time. And,
that's true. No mirror, yeah.
And no keys either. That was the weird thing. We just weren't getting any keys for the first. At least I wasn't. I mean, maybe the way that Glan went early, he got some keys, but I didn't have any keys to even hint at when I find items. Here's where I should go. It was just a lot of nothing.
Yeah, so that makes it an even bigger risk that you took by deciding not to go to Eastern and dip it early on. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I don't like to dip Eastern. I didn't even visit Sarashula until I had the green pendant. If I can avoid going over to Sarashula early, I feel less obligated to dip into Eastern when I know I'm not going to be able to complete it. So if I find enough progress early on elsewhere to stay away from that side of the light world for a while, I do. Just because it can feel really wrong to head over to Saha early and not dip Eastern. So, knowing, okay, I've done everything else, all I have left is Sarashula and Eastern, then I know I'm making a good dip into Eastern Palace early. But if I can avoid it, if the items let me avoid it, if I'm getting enough elsewhere, I will kind of stay away from there for a while. Now, the plan isn't to stay away as long as I did, but we never found enough items to really make sense to go back either until the green pendant. Then I could kind of finally say, all right, I can justify going over to Sarashula and not diving Eastern because, hey, I'm turning in the green pendant, which ended up being the mirror.
Right, giving you more progression all of a sudden.
I was a little annoyed. Usually, because it's a big mistake you can make in Seeds a lot, is I got the green pendant and then I took 20 minutes to turn it in and it was progression. Oops. But 2 really good pieces of progression in Thieves already. So, getting the hook shot off blind and whatever else was the bow in Thieves. I don't even remember the other item in Thieves.
That was where you guys started to diverge. because you went to Thieves Town. Meanwhile, Glan went to I forget where he was that time of game.
I think it was Eastern at the time.
Yeah,
Eastern and Pod.
that's right. And so he got that big key, and of course we're theory crafting. If that big key leads to progression, then that's really interesting. But it ended up really panning out for you with those two really important progression items. It took a while for Glan to go back to Thieves.
Yeah, the seed was really tough until Thieves, and didn't even realize how nice it had been because I didn't turn in the green pendant for another 20 minutes. But yeah.
You guys were really close to each other, like trading a minute back and forth until right up through that divergence after Ice Palace, I believe it was. But you took a death in Ice Palace, didn't you?
That Ice Palace didn't go so well. I messed up that penguin room. I don't know how. I've only done it, 200 times. I messed up the penguin room and took like 3 hits. So I only had 2 hearts, which meant if I took a hit in the hellway, that I was not going to be able to do the bomb jump. And of course, I'm trying to grab that key and not run into one of the spikes, and I take a hit. So I only had 1 heart, which meant I couldn't bomb jump with green tunic. So I just ran into the spike to kill myself and try again. It's not a huge time loss, but it was a pretty bad execution error. Ice Palace was pretty ugly on my part, to be honest. That was feeling a little rough there.
You're really smart to cut your losses there and just dive right back in.
What I should have done is taken the death in the penguin room. After taking that many hits, I should have said, I'm probably not going to be able to bomb jump. I need to just start over. But I held out hope that I could make it the rest of the way without taking a hit and nail the bomb jump on the first try, which of course I didn't do when I got back down there anyway. So
yeah, you were very close. We had 1 try at that bomb jump when you got back there the second time.
That bomb jump can be tricky. I line it up with the sword, so you don't usually have the fighter sword, and the fighter sword is a little thinner than the rest, so it plays a little bit of a trick on the eye. It doesn't look like you've lined it up correctly with the fighter sword, but you have.
Well, at that point, you were just minutes behind Glan entering into Ice Palace, and you made up a lot of that time. And it's not just, I think, a lot of people talk about the luck of Keysanity. There's certainly luck involved in any randomizer, but I think it's more, I would call it risk more than luck. It's kind of like poker, like you can even calculate the odds sometimes. And in this case, you had super efficient routing, very cautious play, and it ended up really paying off for you, despite taking a death in Ice Palace. But that only cost you, like you said, like a minute.
Yeah, a death there in Ice is not so bad. The first 2 rounds of the tournament, I felt like my execution has been great and my routing a little suspect, or at least didn't fit the seeds that I got. This one, my execution was not too good and really made up for it with just, lucky or good routing for once.
Yeah, Glenn wound up, I believe he kind of triple dipped the northeast area, going up to Zora, and then he didn't have the moon pearl, so he couldn't check the waterfall until later. And then he checked Catfish again without the mirror, so he couldn't check the waterfall until later again.
Yeah, there was nice nice gloves timing there, which let me do a few more checks before heading down to that southeast area and Moon Pearl, so that I could do my fake flippers and had enough money for Zora, so got my mitts on time. So the route that I chose for this one worked, that's for sure. It was a really intriguing seed. Not too many Keysanity seeds that are so light on keys early. I'm used to just kind of reading, here are the keys I've gotten, so here are the locations I'm going to go as soon as I've got the items, but this one was sort of backwards from that. It was really unique.
Yeah, it ended up being a real jet seed. I mean, 144 on a Keysanity, that's amazing.
I wanted to do that Meyer dip when I was over finishing Desert, but I felt like Meyer was going to have something. We had the flute the whole game, and the flute hadn't really unlocked anything. It wasn't Death Mountain access, so there wasn't any progression from the flute at all to that point. We obviously had the medallion that opened both dungeons, and we didn't have the cane at the time, but that didn't matter because it was pendant Meyer. So I could have saved myself. I think the Fat Fairy check and the Aga Tower check is what I did in between Desert and Mire. But yeah, I mean, heck, anything, you know, you come in sub 145, something went right in the seed. And, you know, even Glan looks like he's going to put up sub 2. So this was a quick one.
Yeah, he's definitely on pace here.
I see he's got Master Sword though, so he did not do left side swamp.
That was the last thing he did. And he just skipped the left side.
Ah, okay, yeah. I felt time slipping away when I went back in to do it, and I probably ended up saving as much time with the tempered there as I wasted going through that. So it seemed like a zero sum there, but not something you're unhappy to see, even if you have to do all of left side to get it.
Yeah, Glan's go mode was he put off returning that green pendant for a while and put off Feast Town for a while in general. But once he got the green pendant, like you, he resisted going back to that area. And for him, I think it was because he had already dipped both Eastern and Pod. So it was, you know, he was one of those things we want to save till last because you're going to probably want to go back into Eastern and Pod, which he did eventually do. But his go mode was the Desert Palace, Big Key, and Swamp.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can get yourself in trouble in Keysanity. I think everybody has seen that, especially with Sarhashala and Eastern Palace. When you do that early Eastern Palace dip and then later on find the Eastern Palace Big Key, you're not going back there till you've got the bow and you're ready to clear that dungeon. But if that big chest has something, you know, your early Eastern Palace dip can kind of cost you there. You know, you can delay bringing back the green pendant because you've already been over there. There's nothing else to do. It's just one item. You know, when are you going to fit in a one item check? So that's another reason I try when the seed lets me stay away from that area. Not that you know, there's a lot of bullets to dodge in any one of these Keysanity seeds. Just so happened I dodged the ones it let me today.
Yeah, it's really good food for thought.
Yeah, I agree with you there in your theory about avoiding Eastern and Pod as long as you can, because it's, you know, it's about that efficient routing. But it definitely paid off for you in this seed for sure, because sometimes it could bite you.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. The problem is the meta game right now is everybody does Eastern Palace or Sarhashala really early in Keysanity. You know, most of the time people are going over there, even if they've got all the items for Dark World, say. So if Sarhashala had the boots, or Mirror was sitting in Eastern, or if, you know, that early big key for Hera lets, you know, you get something really good out of Hera way earlier than I was, that's, you know, something that you're going to have everybody in a race. You know, if you're in a big race, at least half the field is going to have those items, you know, 10, 15 minutes before you if you do what I did. So it's one of those things, it's a percentage game. You know, if it's going to work 60% of the time, that's good. You got to be prepared for it to fail 40% of the time.
Yeah, definitely. It was also really interesting because you guys were in Mire at the same time, really late in the game. And all you had left was that Eastern Big Key and the Tower of Hera Big Key. And he still needed to turn in the green pendant for Mire, but he already had the Hera Big Key.
Yeah, he was just looking for the Desert Palace Big Key at that point. It was a really weird sync.
We took two different routes and ended up in the same place. That always happens in Rando.
Was that nearly an hour and a half in?
Yeah, the go mode? Yeah, I believe so. And Glan's on the second phase of the Ganon fight here. Let's see if he can sub 2. He's got a minute left. I think he can do it still.
This fight, just these first couple phases take so long with the Master Sword. It's not much you can do to speed it up.
Yeah, luckily it's the only slow part is that second phase, because now he's got that silvers he can rely on. So still possible. It's gonna be close.
Ooh, and I think it's like a 15-second fanfare as well.
Well, it's gonna count in my book if he can fell Ganon. But at this point, ooh, almost gets the fire rod torch glitch. Nice double for the kill. GG's to Glan with an official SRL time of 2 hours 43 seconds. So close to sub 2. See if we can get him in here for an interview as well. Meanwhile, Buane, is there anybody who you would hate to be pitted against in the next round?
Boy, I hated being pitted against Glan in the 1-1. I lost that second round and said, all right, that's bad, but hey, I can still run the table, get to that tiebreaker race, and maybe there'll be somebody a little easier than last round and have to match up against Glan. He's real good. He knows his stuff. I mean, his name's in the credits of the game, for goodness sake. So wasn't too happy with that matchup that I saw. This tournament is so stacked. There's going to be some top players in the 1 and 2 bracket of this Swiss. We got some crazy matchups head to head in the 2 and 0. So there's going to be ridiculously good 2 and 1 players no matter what. Yeah, it's a minefield. There's no easy round, no easy opponent. 208 entrants. So many good rando players these days. I can't even pick. If I'd like to what is it? TGH and ACMLM, right? In the 2-0 matchup. Whoever loses that, I think I'll stay away from the loser of that game.
Yeah, put in a word in the admins, let them know not to roll you with them. And also, welcome Glan and GG.
GG, Glenn.
Yeah,
GG.
so very good game. So close to that sub 2.
Yeah. Was there actually a sword in GT upstairs?
We don't know because neither of you opened the chests, but there was a tempered on left side of swamp. But your go mode was the Desert Palace big key, so you didn't have a reason to go check left side.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just
you
felt
guys-
like doing my sword ganon because I already lost.
You diverged pretty drastically as well. It's unfortunate that you put off the overworld locations that you did, and you made a very common play. It's usually paying out going into pod and Eastern early, and you got items there. They just weren't quite the ones you needed at the time.
Yeah, and the stuff I was doing early started working out, but I mean, it really just came down to how quickly I checked the bat, which I kind of forgot about for a little bit because I was locking everything.
Yeah, that bottlenecked you a bit, and also the Sriracha with the mirror. I think because you had dipped Eastern and Pod already, it disincentivized you to go check in the green pendant, which is totally understandable. But you got a great advantage, and this is where the early divergence happened because you had a lead over Buane by a minute or two coming out of Ice Palace, but then Buane got the Thieves Town big key in an overworld location, and meanwhile you got that Tower of Hera big key.
Yeah. Which I couldn't even go to for a while.
Yeah, so that led to some big divergence, but it was a very close game still, and even up until we got the go mode item, it was still a total possibility that either one of you could have finished first.
I can't remember. Was there actually something useful in Mire?
Yes, it was the Eastern Palace big key.
Okay.
Both of you were searching for. And at the time, you guys were actually both searching Meyer at the same time. And uh, yeah, Buane actually put off Eastern for a really, really long time, and it just so happened that he was able to route that in like along with Pod for basically go mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really the difference. I opened no chests in Pod. I opened one chest in Eastern. That's a lot of time save in Keysanity. I just didn't want to go to Pod and do it so slowly. I don't know. Sometimes there's a lot of items there, but with no boots, I put it off for a long time without the mirror. Also, that's just that's basically the entire time save in Keysanity. That dungeon takes forever.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, the bottleneck kind of got me there because, like, I really didn't have much to check at that point after Ice Palace, and I had skipped Escape and Eastern. And so that's a lot of like really early game stuff that I just skipped over, and I thought maybe I had missed something that I was supposed to have that Boyne had gotten, and I was behind.
Yeah, you both put off that Eastern pod play till much later than I think most other players would have.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw you in Meyer open up the item menu for a bit and have a think. What was going on there?
I had some controller troubles to figure out.
Oh no, so it would have been sub 2 if it were not for the controller.
Yeah. Oh well.
We
Well,
didn't notice it. It was good execution otherwise.
Yeah, we figured it must have been either some kind of technical difficulty, or maybe you were just double checking to see if you were in go at that point. But it was a kind of a delayed item menu check if it was looking for go.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well played to the both of you. Any final thoughts about the seed?
I like this. More of this, please. No Ganon's Tower key searching. Maybe some boots, but that's about the only thing I'd change. Nothing in Eastern, nothing in Pod. That's right up my alley.
I would like to say that Sahazralite is a jerk.
Absolutely.
So has been, am I right?
Yes.
Yes, well, GG's all, and looking at the credits scroll here, I'm very interested to find out what the collection rate difference was at the end there, because of that huge difference of not having to check any of the pod chests. But you know, Glan ended up routing that dungeon very efficiently, even without the bow, which helped them finish a lot faster as well.
And also helped combining Pyramid in with the Castle Tower check as well.
Yes, still.
It took so long to get the mirror.
Boyne, did you think about like death warping to check the Castle Tower when you were first doing Escape?
I did. It takes so long to death warp from the dark room. None of those enemies do much damage, and I didn't have the Aga Tower. If I had the Aga Tower key, I probably would have at that point. But just for the first chest, because it's funny, Glenn, you said you got scared about Escape and Eastern because you thought maybe I did them early. I had the same feeling after Ice. Ice, wasn't really much from Ice, and I said, okay, I gotta go check Escape at least now because I could be way behind and not know it.
Yeah.
So I had the cape when I was there. I thought about doing that first chest Aga Tower and decided that the Fat Fairy crystals were obtainable. I already had one of them. I'd put it off for a little bit, and maybe I get lucky, run into Mirror, and I'm able to combo Aga with Fat Fairy, which I ended up doing to no avail, unfortunately.
So what was your go mode item?
Tower of Hera Big Key was my go mode, so as soon as I got in Eastern, I opened that one chest, and that was it.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
stayed
was-
away from that whole area. It worked out perfectly in this seed. never set foot in pod until I was in go mode. I never set foot in Eastern until all I needed was that one chest.
Yeah, pod is such a coin flip, and I usually make the wrong decision.
It's hard. It's 50-50. It is a coin flip. It's gonna work half the time. It's gonna not work half the time.
Yeah, so many games kind of end in what happens in pod. It should just be called pod sanity.
It was tempting with that bow. I mean, obviously, if I don't get the hook shot from blind, I'm right there in pod as my next move, I think. But the hook shot, I guess, saved me a little bit because then Death Mountain was a little attractive. I don't even remember if I got anything on Death Mountain. There was a sword there.
Thieves Town Big Key, I believe.
That was
Swamp Palace Small Key.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah. That was
Oh,
a
Swamp
Thereox.
Key, yeah. I mean, so that saved me because I when I find the bow upstairs in Thieves, I'm thinking, okay, seems pretty linear. Let's go to pod. So that helped save me, just getting that hook shot. That's really it. I mean, it's razor thin margin. One decision one way, one decision another way, and you're either looking good or not.
Yeah, tough calls. Interesting divergence. It was a very entertaining match and very well played to both of you. I wish you the best of luck in your future Keysanity tournaments. Also, looking at the clear rates here, just like what is this seed? And very well played to the both of you. Even though you got led down, a little bit of some side roads here, Glenn. I mean, 149 out of 216 is incredible.
It's pretty good for Keysanity.
Yeah, that's practically almost unheard of unless you're Andy or Kyong92 maybe. I also want to give a shout out to both of your Twitch channels. So go ahead and give these racers a follow if you liked what you saw here. And big thanks to our two trackers today, Hahasel and Dragon Master 0283. Yes, we had two trackers because this was going to be a double header, but they ended up both wanting to volunteer, which was fantastic, which is why like things appeared on the tracker immediately. So huge thanks to them. And to our restreamer, Dark Shadows 59.
And thank you to my co-commentator, Kern.
And to my co-commentator, the Speed Gamers, aka Jagger.
Yeah.
And best of luck to you both in the future of the tournament.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Good job. Thanks everybody making this happen.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
We'll see you all later.